My name's Joel Blumberg, for anybody that cares, and if you missed this shtick, if you heard this shtick yesterday, please indulge me for people who are newcomers, but for about 25 years, I was a sportscaster. I worked for CBS Radio, I worked for a number of other different people.
That makes it perfect for today.
It does, it does. And one of the things that about 7, 8 years ago, I left sports, and I got into becoming a film historian. And people would come up and ask me, you worked in sports and you did Super Bowls and World Series and you traveled all over the world, and why would you ever want to give it up? And I said, well, in the 25 years I worked in sports, all I ever met were athletes, many of them not so nice. And when I got into this business, I get a chance to meet an Academy Award winner and sit next to her, and a marvelous athlete. And I get to sit next to Johnny Whitaker, who was a star of one of the favorite shows that I watched growing up, called Family Affair. And if that's not a reason for leaving sports and coming here, I don't know. On my right is Celeste Holm and her husband, Frank Basile. Basile. I gotta put the line there. Academy Award winner for Gentleman's Agreement, amongst her other credits, The Snake Pit with Olivia de Havilland, The Great All About Eve for Joseph L. Mankiewicz, with a cast so large I take up most of this session mentioning it, but Celeste stood out. And also for Joe Mankiewicz, the voice of Addie Ross in A Letter to Three Wives. In television, she's been on Falcon Crest. She was on a series with Lindsay Wagner called Jessie, and a couple of recent television series, Promised Land and The Beat. She played the fairy godmother in the best production of Cinderella I've ever seen, and was in my favorite comedy, which we'll talk about later, Champagne for Caesar. Please welcome Celeste Holm and her husband,
And you forgot to mention she was Aunt Polly in Tom Sawyer.
Yeah. That's correct. Yeah. I have actually, I've got it. I was going to bring that up with you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. My guest on my left starred as Jody in Family Affair with Brian Keith and Sebastian Cabot and Kathy Garver. And he was also in Tom Sawyer, of which Celeste played Aunt Polly.
My Aunt Polly.
His Aunt Polly.
And the first time we met, she spit on my hair.
Me too, Johnny. That's
okay, so that happens to all the boys. Okay.
He's made 2 films with Jodie Foster, both of them as youths. And welcome to Johnny Whitaker. Ladies first, beauty before age.
Absolutely.
The whole 9 yards. Celeste, I want to talk about your early career. You started in Broadway. You played in Oklahoma. You played on the stage in the all-women play, the all-female cast of The Women. And from there, you went to 20th Century Fox. Talk about playing on Broadway and how you were discovered by 20th Century Fox and how you went there.
Well, I don't know them when they discovered me. I only know my agent said I should come somewhere that next day, or they'd seen me. And that's how that worked. So I went and met them, and I didn't look any more different than they expected me to be. And I think that's how I got a contract with Fox.
When you went to Fox, your third picture was Gentleman's Agreement. Did you ever conceive, when you got the role, did you ever conceive that the part was an Academy Award-winning type of part?
I think that way. You think it's a good part, it's a good script, I like it, I'll do it. I never think about results.
And when you were nominated for the Oscar, some of your thoughts then?
Well, I was delighted.
Did you think you were going to win?
I didn't think about that. I don't have to be nominated. Now I thought. So it was nice to hear.
Working on that kind of script, and it really was a groundbreaking film, talking about anti-Semitism with Gregory Peck and Dorothy McGuire and John Garfield, and directed by Elia Kazan. Did you know Elia from his Broadway days?
No.
So
I knew of him, of course.
And you know, knowing that this was something groundbreaking, knowing that this was material that had never been done before, that nothing had ever been touched about it, did it give you a sense of being almost...
Groundbreaker? No. I was too busy with the part and with the present situation. I didn't look for long, you know, footprints into the future.
Johnny, you went to a show called Family Affair. We talked about that. And I don't know if people realize, it was a very unique format. And it was a format that started with My Three Sons. And the way it began, and if I'm not mistaken, when My Three Sons was filmed, they actually offered it to Van Johnson and not Fred McMurray. But what they did was they went up to Fred and they said, look, we're going to give you, I think, 3 months' work. We're going to film the entire season, but we're going to shoot all of your scenes in one slug for the entire season. It'll take about 3 months, and you have 9 months off. And Don Feddersen, who really pioneered this concept, then did it with Brian Keith. Now, Brian wasn't the original choice for the role of Bill Davis either, and I'm trying to prod my memory because I don't remember exactly who it was, but it was the same kind of format. You did all of your work with Brian for the first 3 months, and then you did the rest of the episodes yourself.
For the other 6 months, right.
What was it like coming into work? Well, you're working on this episode for this show in the morning, this episode for a show that's going to run 3 weeks later in the afternoon. How tough is that for an actor, and especially a child actor, to have to go through all of these gyrations?
I don't care.
I didn't know any different.
Yeah.
So all I knew is the lines I had to know for that day. My mother would work with me. I would get up about 6:30, get ready, get into the car, study my lines, get on, go into school, take 20, 30 minutes in school while everybody was getting ready, got on the set and rehearsed 1 or 2 times and then went ahead and filmed. The craziness was for the continuity person, because the continuity person and the wardrobe people had to know exactly what they were wearing, how they were wearing it, and so what we had to do was try to, make sure that all of his clothes, we had 5 and 6 pairs of all of the clothing that we had, just in case one got torn and we didn't finish the scene and we had to later on. It was very crazy the way it was done. I never knew what a script was until I saw it on Sunday or Thursday night. That was the first time that I really saw the whole thing. I would read it, but it wasn't, I was actually reading it at 6 years old, but I really didn't comprehend the whole story, and it was after I saw it there. So actually, for an actor, and a child actor, for me, it was pretty good because it was compartmentalized, and I just had to know that scene, and I could make it as fresh and new because I didn't know what was coming later on.
One of the things that Celeste just mentioned when I asked her about, did you know what you were doing? Did you know you were working on a groundbreaking film? And she answered me, no, I was just reading a script and playing a part. It's almost the same story with you.
Absolutely. We don't, they, our agents get us the audition, we do a good job, and then we are thankful that we got the job and go and do it.
How did you get the job?
Well, Family Affair I got very strangely. Originally it was set for a 16-year-old girl for Sissy, a 10-year-old boy for Jody, and a 6-year-old girl for Buffy. Brian Keith and I had done The Russians Are Coming, The Russians Are Coming the year earlier, and he came, my mother of course was a young pretty woman, and Brian Keith was the hunk of the time. And he comes and knocks on my door, and